Captain Vortho pressed 3 of his 8 tentacles against the bridge's view screen, leaving suction marks on the pristine surface again. His chief engineer would have his head for that later. But right now, watching humanity's most notorious repair station drift into view, Vortho had bigger concerns. "Tell me again why we're docking at a human repair bay." His secondary voice box gurgled the question while his primary one continued breathing. The Galactic Council had warned him multiple times, with pamphlets and videos, and one particularly disturbing interpretive dance performed by the crystalloid ambassador. Lieutenant Kezart's mandibles clicked nervously. "Because, Captain, our hyperdrive core is making that noise again. You know, the whir, click, boom, fizz noise? Ah yes, that noise." Vortho's chromatophores shifted to a sickly purple. "And you're certain the humans can fix it? Without incidents?" Well, Kezart consulted his datapad. According to the reviews, Hanson's Fix-It station has a 4.8-star rating. The missing 0.2 stars are apparently due to something called unexpected modifications and creative interpretation of repair orders. The massive human station loomed larger now. Its exterior was a patchwork of mismatched hull plating, duct tape that somehow survived in the vacuum of space, and what appeared to be racing stripes painted on the docking arms. A neon sign flickered. "Hanson's Fix-It station. We'll make it work somehow." "Captain," Communications Officer Blorg wheezed through his breathing apparatus, "incoming transmission from the station." "Put it through." The view screen flickered to life, revealing a human male with grease-stained coveralls and safety goggles pushed up onto his forehead. He was holding what looked suspiciously like a ham sandwich in one hand and a plasma torch in the other. "Hey there, folks. Name's Jim Hanson, owner and chief mechanic of this fine establishment. I see you've got yourself a Vorthan Star Cruiser Mark VI. Beautiful ship. Terrible hyperdrive design. Those things break if you look at them wrong. Had one in here last week. Turned out the problem was a space hamster had crawled into the motivator assembly. Don't suppose you've checked for space hamsters?" Vortho's tentacles writhed. "We have not checked for space hamsters. Common mistake." Jim took a bite of his sandwich. "So, what seems to be the problem?" "Our hyperdrive is making concerning noises." "Ooh, what kind of noises? Is it more of a grinding sound, like grrr, or maybe a whistling sound, like wee, or perhaps a combination platter of terrifying sounds that make you question your life choices?" "The third option," Vortho admitted. "Perfect. I love a challenge. Dock at Bay 3. Fair warning, though. Bay 2 is currently occupied by Ambassador Theta's yacht. Poor guy brought it in for a simple oil change, and my apprentice Tommy got a bit enthusiastic. Long story short, it now has a pizza oven installed in the engine room. But it's a really nice pizza oven." The transmission cut off before Vortho could respond. Captain Kezart ventured, "Are you certain about this?" "No," Vortho admitted, watching as the docking arms reached out like eager metal fingers. "But at this point, what's the worst that could happen?" Famous last words in any language. The docking process itself was surprisingly smooth, if you ignored the fact that the docking clamps were clearly repurposed from what looked like Earth Carnival rides. A spinning teacup adorned one arm, while another featured a faded painting of a cartoon mouse. As the airlocks hissed open, Jim Hanson bounded aboard with the enthusiasm of a golden retriever who'd just spotted a tennis ball. Behind him trailed a younger human carrying a toolbox that rattled ominously with every step. "Welcome to my humble establishment." Jim spread his arms wide, sandwich still in hand. "This here's Tommy, my apprentice. He's new but eager, very eager. Sometimes too eager. But we're working on that." Tommy waved. His coveralls bore an impressive collection of burn marks, oil stains, and what might have been teeth marks from something with far too many teeth. "So." Jim clapped his hands together. "Let's take a look at that hyperdrive. Lead the way, Captain Squidward." "It's Vortho." Right. Captain Vortho. My apologies. I'm terrible with names. Last week I called a Regelian ambassador Princess Sparkles for 3 hours before anyone corrected me. Turns out he was actually quite fond of it. They made their way through the ship's corridors, Jim leaving sandwich crumbs in his wake while providing running commentary on everything he saw. Ooh, nice plasma conduits. Very shiny, though you might want to add some racing stripes. Everything's better with racing stripes. Trust me. I'm an engineer. And is that authentic Vorthan slime on the walls? Fancy. My ex-wife would love this. She was into the whole organic aesthetic. Said my workshop smelled like motor oil and broken dreams. I said that was the smell of progress. They reached the engine room, where the hyperdrive core hummed uncertainly. Every few seconds it produced a sound that could only be described as a mechanical sneeze followed by what might have been a death rattle. Ah, Jim said knowingly. I see the problem. Already? Vortho's chromatophores shifted to hopeful green. Oh, absolutely. This is a classic case of, Tommy, what do you think? The apprentice squinted at the massive drive core. Flux capacitors backwards? Good guess, but no. Captain Vortho. When's the last time you fed this thing? Fed it? All 8 tentacles went rigid. It's a machine. We don't feed it. Jim and Tommy exchanged a look that could only be described as, oh boy, here we go again. See, that's where you're wrong, Jim explained, pulling out a wrench that looked suspiciously like it had been modified with what appeared to be a coffee maker attached to the handle. Hyperdrive cores are like pets. They need attention, regular maintenance, and occasional treats. This poor thing's been running on empty emotional validation for who knows how long. That's not how hyperdrives work, Kazart protested. Says who? Tommy chimed in. The manufacturer, please. They just want you to buy replacement parts. We know better. Right, Jim? Exactly. Now, Captain, I'm going to need you and your crew to clear out for about, 6 hours, maybe 7. Definitely no more than 12, unless we find space hamsters. Then all bets are off. I'm not comfortable leaving you alone with our engine core, Vortho said. Jim's grin widened. Oh, you shouldn't be comfortable. Comfort is the enemy of progress. But I promise you, when we're done, this baby will purr like a Terran kitten, assuming kittens purred at faster than light speeds and occasionally bent the fabric of space-time. Before Vortho could object further, a tremendous clang echoed through the engine room. Tommy had already started dismantling something that definitely looked important. Oops, Tommy said cheerfully. Found the problem. Also, possibly created several new ones, but that's just part of the process. Jim patted Vortho's nearest tentacle. Don't worry, Captain. We're professionals, mostly. On Tuesdays. Is it Tuesday? Doesn't matter. Point is, we'll have your ship running better than ever. You have my word as a human engineer, which I'm told is worth exactly as much as you'd expect. Another clang. A shower of sparks. Tommy's delighted whoop. Perhaps, Jim continued, sandwich crumbs falling onto what was definitely a critical component, you'd be more comfortable waiting in our customer lounge. We have coffee. And magazines. And a lovely view of the medical bay where we treat the occasional engineering-related injury. Vortho looked at his hyperdrive core, now partially disassembled with Tommy elbow deep in its glowing innards. He looked at Jim, who was now using his sandwich as a pointer while explaining something about positive thinking maintenance to a bewildered KZRT. Fine, Vortho sighed. But if anything happens to my ship, Captain, I give you my solemn promise, Jim placed his free hand over his heart, that when we're done, your ship will definitely still be a ship. Probably. Most likely. The odds are definitely in favor of it remaining ship-shaped. As Vortho reluctantly led his crew out of the engine room, he heard Tommy's voice drift after them. Hey Jim, should this part be glowing purple? Only if we're lucky. It isn't nearly. The door sealed behind them with a hiss that sounded suspiciously like mechanical laughter. 6 hours later, Captain Vortho sat in Hanson's customer lounge, which was exactly as advertised. The coffee tasted like starship fuel. The magazines were all about extreme hyperdrive modifications and hot rod spaceships. And the view of the medical bay was indeed lovely, especially since Tommy had been wheeled through twice already. It's just a minor plasma burn. The apprentice had called out cheerfully the first time, giving a thumbs up with his bandaged hand. Totally worth it for science. The second time, he'd been less coherent, mumbling something about the colors can taste purple now while a medbot sedated him. Keziort nervously clicked his mandibles. "Captain, perhaps we should check on our ship." Jim said not to disturb them for at least 10 hours. He said 6 to 7 hours. It's been 6. He also said 12 if they found space hamsters, but they didn't find space hamsters. That we know of. And Blorg wheezed anxiously through his respirator. The human repair bay reviews mentioned something about a customer whose navigation system was replaced with what they called a magic 8-ball. The customer complained until they realized it had a better success rate than their original system. Before Vortho could respond, the lounge's speaker system crackled to life. "Captain Vortho, please report to Engineering Bay 3. Your ship is ready." Mostly. Predominantly, the important bits anyway. The crew exchanged glances that transcended species barriers, united in their shared dread. They returned to find their ship different, not drastically different, but different in the way that makes you do a double take. The hull gleamed with fresh racing stripes. The docking ports had been retrofitted with what appeared to be disco balls. And was that a hood ornament on the bow? "Gentlemen." Jim emerged from the ship, covered in grease but grinning like he'd just won the lottery. "I have good news and better news. No bad news?" Vortho asked hopefully. "Oh, there's plenty of that too. But let's focus on the positive. The good news is your hyperdrive is fixed. The better news is we found the problem. No space hamsters. But there was a family of interdimensional moths living in your flux matrix. Apparently they thought it was a vacation home." "Interdimensional moths?" "Yeah. Cute little buggers. Purple. Possibly psychic. Tommy made friends with one. Named it Steve. Anyway, we relocated them to a nice quantum field in the storage bay. They seemed happy." "You put interdimensional moths in our storage bay? Would you prefer them in the hyperdrive? Because that's where they were. And let me tell you, moth droppings and faster-than-light travel do not mix well." Vortho's chromatophores shifted through several colors before settling on resigned beige. "What else did you do to our ship?" "Well," Jim pulled out a grease-stained tablet. "Let's see. Fixed the hyperdrive, obviously. Cleaned the flux injectors. Replaced the worn motivator bearings. Added some decorative neon to the engine room because Tommy said it looked sad. Installed a coffee maker in the bridge because every bridge needs coffee. Oh, and we might have accidentally given your computer system a personality." "A personality?" "Buzz. Yeah, turns out when you cross-wire the navigation matrix with the entertainment system while listening to Earth jazz, things get interesting. Your ship's AI now speaks exclusively in beat poetry, but hey, at least it's cultured." As if on cue, the ship's speakers crackled. "Coordinates set, Daddy-O, through the cosmos we flow. Destination groovy, engine ready to blow, in the good way, not the explosive way, you dig? See?" Jim beamed. "Culture." Vortho closed all 4 of his eyes and counted to 10 in 3 different languages. "Is the ship safe to fly?" "Safe? Absolutely. Well, relatively, compared to before anyway. The hyperdrive should run smooth as butter now. Earth butter. Not that weird Andromedan stuff that screams when you spread it. Plus we added some improvements." Vortho repeated flatly. "The racing stripes alone should boost your sublight speed by 0.5%. That's just science. And the disco balls? They're actually highly sophisticated sensor arrays. They just happen to look fabulous while scanning for threats." Tommy appeared from inside the ship, no longer sedated but sporting a spectacular purple mohawk. "Captain, wait till you see what we did with the weapons systems." "What did you do to the weapons systems?" Kezart asked in horror. "Made them more efficient. They now play Earth music when fired. We figured. Why just destroy your enemies when you can destroy them with style? The plasma cannons play classical. The torpedoes do death metal. And the point defense systems, Jim. What did we set those to?" "Smooth jazz," Jim replied proudly. Nothing says please don't shoot at me quite like Kenny G. Vortho was about to object when his personal communicator buzzed. It was a message from the Galactic Council, marked urgent. Captain Vortho. The message read, "Intelligence reports indicate a hostile armada heading for your sector. All available ships are ordered to intercept. Estimated time to contact, 40 minutes. Good luck." AC. Well, Vortho sighed, I suppose we're about to test your modifications in combat. Jim's eyes lit up. Combat? Oh, you're going to love this, Tommy. Tell them about the shields. Right. So the shields now modulate frequency based on incoming fire. But they also change color. It's like a space rave. Plus, we added a feature where they can display messages, for psychological warfare. Nothing demoralizes an enemy quite like a giant neon your mom called. She's disappointed in space. Please tell me you're joking. Humor is the best warfare. Tommy insisted. Sun Tzu said that. Probably. I mean, he might have if he'd thought of it. Within minutes, Vortho found himself back on the bridge, strapping into a captain's chair that now had cup holders and what appeared to be a massage function. His crew took their stations, everyone trying to ignore the smooth jazz playing softly in the background. Engineering to bridge. The computer announced in a sultry voice, "Hyperdrive online, feeling fine, ready to dance through space and time." I already miss our old computer, Blorg wheezed. Contact. Kazart announced. Hostile armada dropping out of hyperspace, 30 ships. No, 35. No, Captain. They're still coming. The view screen filled with enemy vessels, sleek and menacing, weapons powering up. All hands, battle stations, Vortho commanded. Then, hesitantly, computer. Engage defensive systems. Shields up. Lights up. Let's groove. The AI purred. Disco mode engaged, baby. Let's make this void a little less void. The shields shimmered to life, cycling through neon colors like a cosmic rainbow. The nearest enemy ship actually paused, probably trying to figure out what they were looking at. Incoming fire. Kazart warned. Plasma bolts streaked toward them, only to be deflected by the rhythmically pulsing shields. Each impact created a burst of color. And was that a smiley face? Return fire. Vortho ordered. The ship's weapons roared to life, and suddenly space was filled with an orchestra of destruction. Beethoven's Fifth accompanied the plasma cannons. The torpedo tubes launched their payloads to the sound of screaming guitars. The point defense systems created a smooth jazz barrier that was somehow both soothing and terrifying. Captain. Kazart's mandibles clicked excitedly. The enemy seems confused. It was true. The hostile armada's formation was breaking apart. Some ships were attempting to match the Vorthan vessel's shield modulations, resulting in their own shields flickering uncertainly. Others seemed hypnotized by the light show. Sir, Blorg reported. We're receiving a transmission from the enemy flagship. Put it through. A scarred alien face appeared on screen, multiple eyes blinking in confusion. What are you doing? Is this some kind of psychological weapon? Why is there smooth jazz in space? Why is there smooth jazz in space? Before Vortho could respond, the ship's AI cut in. Hey there, hostile cat. Your aggression falls flat. Why fight when we could dance? Give peace a chance, you dig? The enemy commander's face contorted. Is your computer? Is it doing poetry at me? Don't knock it till you've tried it, Space Invader. The AI continued. Your vibe is all wrong. How about we sing a different song? Captain. Tommy's voice crackled over the comm. Want me to activate the special surprise? What special surprise? Vortho asked, dreading the answer. The one where we broadcast Earth's greatest hits directly into their comm systems. Nothing ends a battle faster than forcing your enemies to listen to Baby Shark on repeat. No. Vortho and the enemy commander shouted simultaneously. The enemy commander looked desperately at Vortho. Please. We'll retreat. We'll leave this sector forever. Just don't unleash whatever horror your humans have prepared. Computer. Vortho commanded. Open a secure channel. Private line. Looking fine. The AI confirmed. Your secret's safe with me. Digital deity that I be. Terms. Vortho asked the enemy commander. Full withdrawal. Non-aggression pact. Just keep those humans away from our ships. We've heard stories. The Regellians still haven't recovered from having their life support systems upgraded to include aromatherapy. Within minutes, the hostile armada was retreating, leaving Vortho's crew in stunned silence. Well, Jim's voice came over the comm. How'd we do? Pretty good for a rush job, right? You defeated an entire armada with disco shields and smooth jazz, Vortho said slowly. And beat poetry. Tommy added helpfully. Don't forget the beat poetry. The reviews were right, Vortho muttered. Human repair bays are terrifying, but effective. Jim countered. Your hyperdrive's purring like a kitten. Your shields are now multifunctional party equipment, and you just won a battle without taking a single hit. I'd call that a success. The computer speaks in poetry. That's a feature, not a bug. Do you know how many captains would pay extra for a cultured AI? Vortho looked around his bridge. His crew seemed surprisingly pleased. The massage chair was actually quite comfortable. The coffee maker was already brewing something that smelled appealing, and they had just achieved the most bizarre victory in Galactic Council history. How much do we owe you? Vortho asked finally. Well, there's the standard repair fee, the moth relocation service, the personality upgrade for your computer, the combat modifications, let's call it even if you leave us a good review. A review, 5 stars would be nice. And maybe mention how we saved you from interdimensional moths. That's got to be worth something on Space Yelp. Vortho's chromatophores shifted to amused purple. 5 stars it is. With a warning label. Warning label? Warning, humans will fix your ship. Terms and conditions apply. Results may vary. Side effects may include disco shields, poetry-speaking computers, smooth jazz weapons, and inexplicable victory against overwhelming odds. That's the best review we've ever gotten, Jim exclaimed. Tommy, put that on the website. As the newly modified Vorthan Star Cruiser departed Hanson's Fix-It station, its wake leaving rainbow trails from the improved engines, Vortho reflected on the experience. Captain, Kazart approached. The crew is requesting permission to return to Hanson's for our next maintenance cycle. They are? Yes, sir. Apparently the massage chairs and coffee makers were quite popular, and navigation says the beat poetry is growing on them. Space is vast, minds contrast. The AI interjected, but human madness makes it blast, you dig? Vortho sighed, a sound that used all 3 of his respiratory systems. Fine. But next time we're checking for space hamsters first. And somewhere in the depths of space, at a repair station held together by duct tape and determination, Jim Hanson posted a new sign, now featuring interdimensional pest control. Ask about our poetry AI upgrades. Warning, smooth jazz weapons may cause spontaneous peace treaties. Business was about to get very, very interesting.